So in order to get your D-scan to show up, you actually need to undock. So I'm going to undock, and if you've never opened it before, you need to go down to this little icon on your HUD, Scanners. It's just sort of to the left of your health and capacitor and speed. Click on Scanners. First thing you want to do is detach this part here, the directional scanner, from the solar system map. You don't want to have the solar system map up every time you have your directional scanner up. You want your directional scanner open all the time. So to detach it, you just click on this box up here in the top right, and that'll pull it out of the solar system map. Then you can close the solar system map, and you've got your D-scan. Now, you'll want to tuck it away somewhere on your screen so you can always have it open. This should be something that is open every single time you undock, always without fail, period. I've got it here underneath my overview. Some people have it on the left, top, whatever makes sense for you. You can put it wherever you want, just so that it can always be open. Okay. Next is making sure that we have a good filter. In other words, when we directional scan by hitting the scan button down here at the bottom right, we see things that we care about, things that are important. Best way to do this is just set the filter to active overview filters. This kind of relies on you having a decent overview. If you need help getting a decent overview, you can join the Z-S overview channel, or get a good overview from any experienced player. And a main PvP overview will translate to pretty good directional scan results, and that's all we need to do to start with. When you've got the range set to max like this and the angle set to max like this, it can be kind of hard to visualize what you're looking at. What information is it giving you? So this is where the system map actually comes in, and the quickest way to open that is actually to click this little button here next to the filter. That will open your solar system map. I like mine full screen. And this green bubble here is your D-scan. It's showing you all the things that is going to be captured by your D-scan. So if you hit scan, it'll scan, and the results here will tell you what is in this bubble. Note that cloaked ships and combat recons will not appear even if they're within this bubble. So if you scan and there's a cloaked ship, even if it's within the bubble, it will not appear on your directional scan results. Same thing with combat recons. That is Rooks, Hugens, Lacaci, and Curses will not appear on D-scan. They have a special role. They do not appear on D-scan. Alright, and then next you want to make sure you're familiar with your D-scan hotkey. I think the default is V. Okay, now we'll talk a little bit about the difference between on and off grid. So if we look over here, these rats actually, these NPCs over on the gate are a good example. So currently we are on grid with these NPCs. If we're to warp to a celestial, this, when we leave this grid, those NPCs are going to disappear from our overview. Like this. There they go. Okay. That should give you a little bit of an idea of on versus off grid. Importantly, things that are, well, okay, there are other things that are just on your overview no matter what. How are they there even if they're off grid? These are called celestial items, or that's one way to think of them. Certain entities in space are celestial entities, and certain things are not celestials. Ships, for example, are not celestials. So if you scan, your directional scanner will pick up ships that are not on grid with you, and that's what's showing me right here. There's Atron Praetor carries that are not giving me a distance. I don't know how far away they are, but they are on scan. That means they're within that bubble. And so that actually explains this last part. Why do some things have ranges and others don't? So we can see the range to the Ansel X Shumgate, or to the Stargate, or to the Fortizar, because those are celestial contacts, essentially. They are things that would appear on your overview no matter what, and these ones don't have distances. Your D-scan can't tell how far away they are. They're not celestial contacts. Hopefully that makes sense. That is as much as I'll go over for the beginner part. We'll move on to intermediate here in a moment after I answer your guys' questions. First thing I want you guys to think about is giving intel in terms of scan. In other words, something is on scan from a location or not on scan from a location. Let's say we're hunting this prorator, trying to figure out where it is. I hit my D-scan. I see the prorator is on scan, and I'm near, look in the top left, the system you're in, but more importantly, the celestial that you're closest to. So I would say the prorator is on scan from planet 7. I could also look over at my overview here and see the closest gate that I'm to is STAC 9. It's very close. I could say that the prorator is on scan from STAC 9. And I can scan and see that it's not on scan, and then another useful piece of intel is prorator is not on scan from FE. So that's how I want you guys to start thinking about giving intel using your directional scanner. You don't need to worry about any sliders or fancy stuff. In order to do that, you just need to be able to know how to scan and know what information is useful. It actually tells you on the directional scanner 14.3 AU. Now we can start learning to narrow some stuff down. But while they're getting set up, again, open your system map. And this time, change the angle of your directional scan to any of the other settings. And with your system map open, you should be able to visualize what the scan cone looks like. That's what it is, it's a scan cone. So if I set it to 90 degrees, it starts to look like this. And you can narrow it all the way down to 5 degrees and get a really tight cone so you can know if something is in a very specific direction. Same idea with range. Right, let's say I have a bunch of stuff that's within this 14.3 AU. I want to know if it's closer than that. Maybe I drop it down to 5 AU, and I want to see if something is within 5, or I can see if it's within 1, or I could set a custom amount into that field. I could check 2 AU, or 3 AU, or 4 AU. Okay, and then the idea is, as you're narrowing something down, what you're looking to do is get it on 5 degree towards something. So 5 degree towards the sun, 5 degree on scan towards YTAC-F, on scan towards STAC 9, on scan towards Planet 4, on scan towards the ESS. These are the ways that you would give this intel. That, as short as it was, is all there is for the intermediate section. Any questions? So good question. Two things. One, if you look in your directional scanning options here, where is it? Do you see the button that says align with camera? If you hit that and then you start moving your camera around, it's actually going to look weird. It's going to look like something went two-dimensional almost. But actually what's happening is the camera is pointing along the axis of your directional scanner. So if you drop it down to 5 degrees, you won't be able to see much unless you zoom in, but it is actually pointing that 5 degree cone in whatever direction you turn the camera. You see that? Camera in-game like this, so you're just swinging your camera around, and wherever you point your camera, that's the direction that the D-scan will scan in. And this is where tracking camera comes in. So Shift-C is the default to turn on tracking camera. But essentially you click on something, your camera will swing towards it automatically, and then you can scan and it'll go. The other thing that Drugga just mentioned is if you hold down the D-scan hotkey, and click on something either on your overview or in space, your camera will swing to it and scan. Now notice, as I'm clicking on these anomalies, it's not scanning. What you have to do for those is have your probe scanner up, which I do over here on the left. Same idea, hold down the scan key and click through them. The camera won't swing, which is really, it can be a little bit to get used to. It can be tricky. The camera doesn't swing, but your D-scan is actually pointing towards those anomalies and scanning them. This is how good scouts find your Ishtars and Gilas or other ratting ships so quickly is they will jump into system, they will immediately scroll to the Haven or the Forsaken Hub, whatever it is, on their probe scanning window. They'll hold down their D-scan key at 5 degrees and they'll start clicking on them. They'll find your Ishtar at 5 degree, whatever it is, they'll find it really quickly and they'll just warp to that anomaly. That's how scouts find things to tackle really quickly. I don't, you can click on the anomaly and then scan. I don't think you can hold down the D-scan button and click on it though. Oh, it does, yes. The only trouble with that is obviously in space, it's not a nicely laid out list where you can see the names of everything. You actually have to hover over it and see what it is. It's much quicker to just scroll the list on your probe scanner. Oh yeah, you check the ones that are close enough that are in scan range first, yes. Well, actually what you do is you do a 360 scan, you see if anything is on scan. If something is on scan, then you immediately start searching through the list of ones that are close that are most likely to have ratters. Or if they're mining ships, you start checking the mining anomalies that are close enough. If there's nothing on scan, then you either, if someone is in local and you suspect that they're ratting, you immediately just warp to one of the anomalies that are off scan and hope you get lucky. There are 3 interceptors spread around the system named 1, 2, and 3. 1 should be the easiest to find, 2 should be the second easiest to find, and 3 should be the hardest to find. I want everyone to try and find them in that order, please, using your directional scanner. Okay, something that is worth noting in a very large system like this is it can be helpful to bring up the solar system map just to see where everything is, and see which celestials you need to warp to and scan at max range 360 degree, just to know what's in the system. And I know where the ships are because they're my alts, but I'm going to show you guys kind of the process that I would use to find where they are. So first thing, I see that 1 is on scan here and I actually have a distance for it, so I know it's on grid with me. So I can just look around and see where it is, and look, there it is, on grid at the customs office for planet 7. So that's 1 down, right? Okay, bam, there it is. There's the first one. All right, now to find the second one. I open up my system map here. Next easiest place to go to and look for stuff would be over sort of in this direction. I guess actually I could just go to the center of the system. That's a good plan in general. Just go to center system and scan. Most signatures, anomalies, celestials, etc. will generally be center system. So center system is a great place to look, and look how much stuff we get on scan in center system. Perfect. 2 is not on scan from here at center system. The only other place it could be, right, aside from a safe in between here, would be over here towards this cluster. So we'll warp over towards the 3rd cluster of celestials. Oh wait, there's a 4th one. Ooh, good to know. All right, could be over there too. There's 2, so 2 is on scan. Now we just need to narrow it down. So 2 is on scan, and I've just narrowed my scan to 180, and it's just a random direction. It doesn't matter what direction. If we were to visualize it on the map here, it looks like this, just like that, 180. It's in that direction. It's not in that direction. So what if we zoom in down here? See, let's just center on our ship here. Perfect. So we can see the stuff that is on scan, because it's highlighted here, but this stuff is not on scan. So is it over here? It is over here, right? And then we can narrow it down a little more, and a little more. We're getting close, and we think it's at that moon. See the only one that's highlighted now? It's at this moon right here. So everyone see how we did that, hopefully? We scanned in 180 degrees in that way, and then 90 degrees, and suddenly it was off scan. What's off scan? This moon right here. So we warp over, and there it is. There's a malediction, number 2. Okay, now to find number 3. So not on scan from here. The only place that we haven't looked in the system, I want to say. Okay, so like we said, we scanned over here, then we scanned over here, then we scanned over here. So we found 1 over here and 2 over here. 3 kind of has to be over here. Yep, it's on scan. Okay, we'll do the same thing, and I'll actually keep the system map open so you guys can see what I'm doing here. So again, 3 is on scan. in this area here. This time I'm going to use my range to try and find it. Within 5 AU, yes. Within 1 AU, yes. Okay, so that narrowed some stuff down. It's within 1 AU. Let's see, is it within 0.5 AU? Yes. 0.2 AU. Yes, it is within 0.2. We're getting very close. So the only thing, really, that's within 0.2 AU over here is this moon. And it is on 180 towards that. Yes on 90. Yes on 60. Yes on 30. It looks like it's at the moon. Yes on 5. Did we find it that easily? Could that really be it? Is it at the moon? Hold up. There's nothing here. Where is it? Alright, so look, what I did was I scanned back towards the gate. At 5 degree. So let's do this. 0.01. Oh, it can't even do that. 0.1. Let's change it to kilometers. 1 million. 2 million. 3 million. Actually, go to 5 million. Nope. 10 million. Okay. It is on scan, but that's because the gate's on scan, right? So let's work back to the gate. Because it looks like it's just gotta be right here. If you think you have found 3, but you can't seem to warp to it, go ahead and shout it out. Say, I think I know where it is. Winner! You did it. Okay, so identifying when a ship is at a safe spot can be tricky, but it's important to learn how to do and how to identify when that's happening. Yes, number 3 is at a safe spot. We'll just start dropping. Oh, so here's what you do. If you scan and it's not on the 180 at all. So here, we scanned. Alright, so look, there's very few locations it could be at, actually. Look at this. Scan, it's not over there. It's either at one of these anomalies or this moon. Bam, there it is. We'll see who finds her first.